The iPhone X was released on November 3, 2017 alongside the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, which were released a month before. It had a great breakthrough for Apple back when it was released. It was the first iPhone to have a controversial notch incorporated with a near edge-to-edge display and a Face ID with no home button. It was also the futuristic phone that made many consumers scratch their head because it came with a hefty $1,000 base point. What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Ezek. For today's topic, we are going to discuss, is the iPhone X still worth buying in 2021? But before we start, intro. She's a diamond under. The iPhone X has a glass front and back, wherein the frame is from stainless steel. It weighs 174 grams. It is equipped with an IP67 dust and water resistance up to 1 meter for 30 minutes. However, despite that protection, I'm not recommending anyone to go for a swim with your iPhone X. It is water resistant and not waterproof. It came with two color variants, namely Space Gray and Silver. This was the biggest innovation in the iPhone lineup. It revolutionized the definition of a cutting-edge design. It was the first model that really changed the perspective of most consumers regarding a futuristic phone, having a notch display, which is still used by most flagships. Add to that, what's unique about the iPhone X is that it is timeless, because the predecessors and even the competitors are incorporated with the traditional design, having the notorious bezels, button placements, and those other stuff. So yeah, in my opinion, it is still a premium build. It doesn't look cheap in any way, shape, or form. It actually stood the test of time because, as we all know, Apple is very conservative about the design and build of their flagships as well as budget phones. In a way that, when you place a flagship alongside with a budget phone or a flagship phone as well, we can truly perceive it is very similar in most way. Talking about the notch, some may say that the notch is annoying or it obstructs the view, but in my opinion, the actual experience feels seamless. The notch was integrated perfectly, and to be honest, it doesn't bother me that much, and I stopped noticing it about a week when I first used one. Let's go ahead and check the parts. On the side, we have the power button and the SIM tray. On the other side, we have the ringer switch and volume buttons. Below, we have two speakers and a lightning port. At the back, we have a dual camera lens setup, which we'll get into later, and this phone, along with other phones that has a glass housing, supports and is capable of wireless charging. So in terms of the design standpoint, in conclusion, it is still relevant and premium looking. However, major tip, if you're using an iPhone X or phones in general that has a glass housing, make sure to install protective layers and a case. The iPhone X has a Super Retina OLED display. It has HDR10 and True Tone, which basically makes the display more realistic. It has a screen size of 5.8 inches with an 82.9% screen to body ratio. It has a screen resolution of 1125 by 2436 pixels and a pixel density of 458. This was the first time Apple brought in the OLED display, which was partnered with Samsung. It also has a 3D touch, which is by far faster than most iPhone that uses haptic touch, such as the iPhone XR and the latter. In my opinion, screen display is very fantastic, having a Super Retina OLED display and a great screen resolution and pixels per inch. Screen size is great as well. It is perfect, not that small and not that big. The screen to body ratio goes to show how the bezels are pushed up on the respective sides. And for me in general, this is still a top tier display. The only problem that we are going to encounter is that when we are watching a video, the notch cuts off some of the display. However, if you want to avoid that, you may minimize the video. In that way, the notch will not obstruct the view. However, it will result to a smaller video format. Given that it is a full screen phone, it also loses the home button. It is now replaced by a home bar or home gestures, which is one of the key features of the iPhone X. When you swipe up from an app, you'll go back to your home page. Swiping up while holding it will direct you to the apps in the background. Furthermore, the notch divides two sides with two different functions. The left side is for the notification center and the other one is for the control center. Along with the ditching of the home button, it also loses the fingerprint sensor for apparent reason. That is why it was replaced with a Face ID, which was the first iPhone to have such security. What makes the Face ID unique among its competitors is that it uses a dedicated lens which is known as SL3D for the depth of field and biometrics. In simple terms, the Face ID recognition uses infrared sensors to detect our face and not an optical sensor of the camera lens, which basically results to better and accurate security. I've been actually using the iPhone XR as my daily driver and the iPhone X as my backup phone. What I can say is that the iPhone X has a slightly better screen resolution in general, having an OLED display over the iPhone XR's LCD. Also, one thing to take into account is that the iPhone X has a screen-to-body ratio of 82.9%, which results to smaller bezels and a better view in general over the iPhone XR's 79%. Nonetheless, this is not an in-depth comparison, but I expect to have one sooner or later from this channel. The iPhone X started from iOS 11, then upgradable to the latest software. It is powered by an Apple A11 Bionic chip which has hexa-core CPU and 3-core graphics. It packs 3GB of RAM and the available ROM or storage are 64 and 256GB. Performance in general is great as well. You will have no problems with switching apps or even having a lot of apps in the background. It performs exceptionally great. I've been using an iPhone X for quite a while and trust me, it doesn't let me down. Gaming wise, it is not much of a problem as well. It is very smooth overall, lags and frame drops are not that noticeable nor feelable since the Apple A11 Bionic chip and the 3GB of RAM is really great in powering the device. However, some Android fanatics or enthusiasts may agree or disagree with me that 3GB of RAM for a smartphone may seem not practical knowing the price range of this flagship. Well, apparently, it holds true in the Android UI or user interface. The operating system as well as the software of an Apple device is largely and completely different opposed to Android's UI. Practically speaking and to be colloquial, 3GB of RAM that is integrated to an Android phone is no good opposed to Apple devices that has 3GB of RAM. It would most likely outperform such devices. So in conclusion, disregarding the comparison, performance-wise, the iPhone X is still relevant and reliable in this department. The iPhone X has a dual camera setup. The first lens has 12 megapixels and an aperture of f-stop 1.8. The second lens has 12 megapixels and an aperture of f-stop 2.4, which is a telephoto lens used for portrait shots. The video resolution of the iPhone X are 720p at 30fps, 1080p at 30 or 60fps, and 4K at 24, 30, and 60fps. To be straightforward, pictures and videos produced by the iPhone X is still great and fantastic. Color accuracy is great, captures every detail of the subject, and dynamic range is great as well. However, it is just quite saturated, which I'm not used to, but it is not a factor to worry about. In other words, in simple terms, I can't say anything bad about the iPhone X camera. In layman's term, in simple terms, the iPhone XS camera is still relevant and reliable. The front camera of the iPhone X has 7 megapixels and an aperture of f-stop 2.2. It also has another lens which is known as the SL30 for the depth of field and biometrics. I mean, number and specs wise, it is not as good as the back camera for obvious reasons. Although, in terms of practicality or using the phone's camera on a daily basis, trust me, it is still great for selfie and vlogging. So guys, this is the front camera of the iPhone X. It has 7 megapixels and an aperture of f-stop 2.2. It has a video resolution of 1080p at 30fps. So my main observation is that the video is not stabilized given the fact that it only has 1080p at 30fps. However, it displays the background and the subject, which is me in this case, very clear and very sharp. The iPhone X has 2716 mAh. Battery life duration from this phone is still relevant and reliable in terms of day-to-day usage. It can last a day with medium usage by charging the phone up to 100 2 to 3 times. In numerical terms, it can last 6 to 8 hours more or less. So the question, is the iPhone X still worth buying in 2021? Paying or investing 13,000 pesos up to 18,000 pesos is still a practical choice or is still worth upgrading for? I mean, yes, it may sound impractical, but I assure you, you will not have problems with the performance in general. Same goes to the camera quality. It is still relevant and produces high quality images and videos. By the way guys, at the end of this video, I will be showing the comments from my first iPhone X review, which was uploaded just weeks ago because I am not that confident with the video quality in general. That is why I unlisted the video. Before I formally end this video, if you are an iPhone X user or you have used one, please comment below your experiences with it. Let's communicate, let's socialize and have a community, and help enlighten people planning to buy iPhones. And lastly guys, if you want a shoutout, just comment below anything with the hashtag Ezek shoutouts.
Okay.
Guys, that's pretty much the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.
여기서부터 다시 보면 되겠지. 틀어놓을 테니까 이 영화를 넌 봄에 먹을 맥주 캔과 과자를 사. 우린 하루 종일 뒹굴거리면서 다시 뒹굴거리고 또 입을 맞추면서 다시 입을 맞추네. 또 다시 입을 안으로 들어가 따뜻한 장판에 몸을 녹여 따뜻하. Oh baby I love you, baby I need you. 이렇게 아무것도 안 해도 좋은 걸. I can't leave you, I can't leave you. 널 버리고 내가 대체 어디를 가겠니. 걱정하지 않아. 널 왜 자꾸 밖에 나가고 싶어.